Welcome to Computers, Ethics, and Society. My name is Tom, and today I want to talk just very briefly about the ethical theory exam. It is a short essay exam, and it is on the three ethical theories that we have learned. There is one short essay question for each ethical theory. And the thing I just kind of want to emphasize is that the purpose of the exam is the application of these theories, right? In a general sense. I don't expect students to know all the details of these theories. We've kind of gone over them fairly quickly, but I do want you to be able to generally recognize what they are and how they can be used to justify a particular position on an issue, right? So let me just say, when it comes to the content of these theorists, we've gone over three. We've gone over Mill's consequentialism. So for that, in general, you should understand, that Mill was a consequentialist and that his overall principle was the greatest happiness principle, and you should know what that is and be able to summarize it fairly quickly. And then you should know that Kant was a deontologist and that his overall principle was the categorical imperative, and a little bit how that works in terms of the test of universalizability, how that connects to certain actions that would be deemed as wrong, like stealing and lying, because they don't pass that test of being a universal rule or law, the way he would put it. And you should recognize the ethics of care as an alternative ethical theory, which kind of resists a universal principle and kind of is a particularist theory, and that it focuses on care for particular individuals in your life as the fundamental kind of starting point of ethical evaluation, right? So and then, the essay questions will be on particular situations that arise. And so what I want you to be able to do, for example, as we move forward, we'll be looking at particular situations when it comes to technology. And so if you take something like privacy, lots of people and students express concerns about, big data and the use of our information and data harvesting on the internet. One way you might think about that is that, the problem is that people are not entitled to look at my data, right? And to use it to their own ends, whatever that is, right? And the reason why is because that data belongs to me, right? That is a deontological reason for being against certain big data practices, right? Alternatively, because it's just an absolute right? I'm entitled to certain things, and that respects my autonomy as an individual, right? That's very Kantian line. Alternatively, you might think, well, the reason why I don't like big data is because it could be used for all kinds of things, and that, maybe the government will figure out, where I'm eating lunch at, and I don't know, if someone, my data could get out there and people could start opening credit cards under my name and steal my identity and all kinds of things like that. That's a very consequentialist justification for being against big data processes, because it focuses on those consequences, right? And why is that important? Well, if you have that consequentialist line and someone wants to mitigate that risk by saying, well, actually, we'll have lots and lots of security, and we have a history where no one has really kind of lost their data, and we've really done a bunch of things to mitigate the risk of identity theft and all that kind of stuff, then that actually kind of whittles away at that consequentialist argument. Whereas if you're a deontologist, those things are not going to provide you any comfort. Your focus is on your entitlement as an independent, autonomous person, right? And what you're entitled to in terms of your property or privacy, right? And conversely, if you take an ethics of care bent, your concern is going to be kind of more about the welfare of individuals. You're not going to be concerned about like the kind of general policies that are going to facilitate the greater good, but how is this going to impact particular people? Think about it in terms of what you'd want your family members to endure or not endure, and how is your policy going to kind of help people in particular situations in which maybe their data is stolen or something like this. Um, um, so that's just one example of kind of like an issue in which you might apply these theories, right? And so that's really what we'll be doing going forward. And that way we can kind of look at these situations or issues like artificial intelligence and the use of that, the use of privacy, also the concerns about censorship on the internet and social media, and kind of you can see there'll be sometimes a lot of these theories will agree on the overall you know idea of what we should value, but they have differing views about how to justify that, and that can shift a person's argument about that. So um, take a look. I have the handout in terms of the study guide. Take a look at that, read through it, should tell you really everything you need to know, and you have all week to do the exam. So take your time. It's open book, open note. Try to write something that's clear and kind of covers all the bases. That's really what I want. All right. Thanks.